Turner Ladies got their start after Stiftungsfest in 1889. The Turnverein decided they needed a fraternal organization. They needed an auxiliary. And so it was at that 30th annual Stiftungsfest that the Turner Ladies Society, also referred to as the Damen Verein, were formed. 44 women became charter members, accepting all rules and regulations of the Articles of Incorporation. The Turner Ladies Society is governed by a constitution and bylaws. For instance, the dues in 1919 were $2. By 1989, they rose to $3, and currently, and still, our membership is $10. So the men and the women didn't always see eye to eye on things. And part of that was, I think, my belief is that women didn't have the right to vote. And so the women really weren't included in the decision making. And so I think that kind of built kind of a rift between the Turnverein and the Turner Ladies Society in those early years. And then we fast forward to 1956. Up until 1956, the Turner Ladies did cook the meals for the events, for the, the people who would come here to eat. And even yesterday, I overheard a coworker say to a new employee at the nursing home, the Turner Ladies, they cook all the food at Turner Hall. And I said, oh, pardon me, no, we don't cook all the meals for the weddings and the events. Oh, you don't? No, I said that practice ended in 1956 when the Turner Ladies turned the kitchen over to the Turnverein, and then they hired kitchen staff.
This was a magical place for people like my mother, who grew up toe dancing because they had teachers, and they had the Hein dynasty. Mr. Hein was the gym teacher, we'll call him, and he had children who were very active in Turner Hall. And one of his children was Hildegard Hein, and this was a force to reckon with. You did not fool around with Hildegard. She decided that at one time, Turner Hall, the basement, the bar part, was painted pink and blue. And she and my mother and Florence Wagner, my aunt, and Dorothy, her Hill's sister, scraped the walls and got them back to the original paneling that you see right now, the color. But it was a fearsome, awesome amount of work. They always had an ambitious Christmas party with a Santa Claus with the rosiest cheeks you'll ever find. And we had a marvelous time getting really big sacks of candy, and then we'd do a little something on stage. But I just remembered the candy, that's what I remember. And of course it was during the war, so candy was a precious commodity. Mm-hmm.
And it would have been over in the old part, which is no more.
That's right. They had it in the auditorium part. And Santa Claus would arrive, as I said, with the rosiest cheeks no man has ever seen before, but we had a good time.
Yeah. So in the old part, there was the auditorium upstairs.
Yes.
With a balcony?
Yes.
Big balcony, right?
Yes, a nice sized balcony.
And
they had seats, on the main floor of the auditorium.
Okay.
They had seats that pulled out, so you could have more seating.
Okay.
And so I don't know how many it really did accommodate. Yeah. It wasn't huge, but it was a lovely building, a lovely part of the building.
Yeah.
It was tradition. You just did. You know, my mother belonged, my aunts belonged, both of them, Ordell Schneider and Florence Wagner, and the Hines. They were friends of ours, and we wouldn't have done anything to offend them because we just adored Hildegard. Just adored her. No, it was a little enclave, and it was just what you did. You weren't offered a choice. Hildegard said what had to be done, and all the men would nod their heads, and that was the way it went.
And then you get to a certain age and they start getting you ready for Turner ladies, probably.
No, we were not encouraged, but my cousin Mary Schneider McClellan and Karen Wagner Whitman, we joined when we were about 16. We didn't work at that time, but when we graduated from high school, we were called upon to work. But Turner ladies did not work as much as in later years.
Okay. So what did they do?
Well, they had a meeting, and that was presided by people like Elfrieda Toberer. One of the gentlemen called her the gefährliches Ding, a dangerous thing, gefährlicher Ding. And
Now,
she
why
ruled.
did she get that?
Oh, she ruled with an iron hand the kitchen. And when we served Stiftungsfest,
Yeah.
we had to be dressed with a white blouse or white shirt, and we had to learn how to serve properly. And as I said, it was ship shape.
You remember?
Art Wild.
Oh, tell me about it.
Art Wild came aus Deutschland, and he always had the whitest shirts known to mankind. I don't think he was married. I'm positive he was never married, but his bar was immaculate. This is the first incarnation before it burned. And we had slot machines down in the basement where we had our bar room, and at least 4 slot machines, and the glasses he washed were simply gleaming, and he had a towel over his arm, and he was very aristocratic and a very much of a gentleman, very much. And he, of course, spoke German, and many of the Turners spoke German, but they spoke echt Deutsch, not Nuon German, a step above that.
Interesting.
And it was a ladies' society. When we had our dinners, the ladies would wear hats and gloves, and really it was an occasion.
And between the gym on Sundays
Yeah.
and the gym classes that were offered,
Yeah.
and the train out here, that when they got that was, probably early 50s. And so we were up here a lot, and this is like second home. So,
Well, let me ask specific about a couple of those. The train. Tell me about this train.
well, I don't know exactly where it came from originally, but I think my dad ran into it somewhere, and it was for sale, and they bought it. Now, whether the money came from Turner Hall or from private money, that I don't know either. All these things I should have asked years ago, but didn't. But it was his pride and joy to keep that thing running, and it took a lot of maintenance. But he enjoyed it to the max, and he would be grinned from ear to ear. So, and all kids had a blast with it because they could get on for, I don't remember, a nickel, dime, whatever, and got a nice long ride out of it, not like the rides you get at the fair today.
I started working in the kitchen when Clara Berg was cook,
Oh, okay.
if that's quite a while ago.
Yes, it was. Who was the manager then? Do you remember?
Boy, I don't know.
Okay. And when did you become a Turner lady?
Well,
Right
50
away?
years ago.
Working at it. Okay.
Yeah, then I still worked in the office at the insurance office, and
Okay.
then weekends we always had weddings, and I helped in the kitchen
You did. Okay.
and just stayed there, you know.
Yeah.
We did a lot of work in the kitchen, you know, ourselves. You know, like now they buy everything, but
Right.
years ago we cleaned our own carrots and our own radishes and
Yeah.
celery and did everything, made egg coffee. And
Did you have to go out and do the serving too?
no,
that
I
came
just
later.
worked in the kitchen
Okay. Just,
and did dishes, cleaned up, you know,
okay.
clean up our mess.
Sure.
Well, I was a widow, see?
Okay.
I was a widow when I was 44, and Harold died when he was 48, so
Okay.
I had to work. I had no choice because not you, but my other daughter was 4 years old when Harold died.
Okay. Okay.
See,
Yeah.
so I mean, in order to stay alive, you worked.
Yeah.
Worked wherever you could, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I joined in 1981.
Okay.
My neighbor across the street from me was a Turner lady before that. I didn't really know anything about it, especially since I didn't grow up here in New Ulm. So, Turner lady, and she said, "Yeah, I should join as a Turner lady." And I said, sounds kind of fun. So I came and joined in 81. Well, Richard Runk was manager when I joined.
Yes.
And for some reason, it was we have our meetings on Wednesday night. We were out after done eating and stuff and just sitting talking, and I don't recall exactly what we were talking about, something about Turner, and then about cleaning or something. And he happened to be walking by and stopped, and he says, "Oh, anybody want to clean? They can come up here." And I said, "Oh, I will." And he says, "Oh, you're hired." I said, "Really?" And it just happened to be that my youngest child was going to be starting school, so before that I was in daycare. And I thought, oh, I can come in and do that. And I didn't think he really was serious. Yes, I said, I can come anytime, do whatever I want, as far as just cleaning, getting everything. And so I did that for a few months. Pretty soon they were short of help in the kitchen, especially I think it was like in November. And so they asked if I wanted to help there. Okay. So somehow, eventually, the cleaning I didn't do anymore, and I ended up in the kitchen cooking.
Had you had any experience with something like that before?
Nope. Yes, when I started
Okay.
to help out, I just went in, like I said, he asked if I would just help out, never planning on being there.
Okay.
And she was there, and Coletta Golden was another one that was there. And there was one other one. There were actually three other ones besides the main cook. And so I just would go in there. Apparently they had some big
Okay.
thing going on and helping out.
Yeah.
And about I would help out more and more. And after a year and a half, I think it was, that the main cook got sick,
Okay.
and then ended up in the hospital, and she didn't live too long.
Okay.
And Richard came to me and he says, "Well, I guess you're going to take over." And I said, "Me?" I didn't even have a say-so in it. I said, "Well, and I did.
I joined in '84, and I think they put me in as treasurer the very next year. And I was treasurer probably for, it had to be 15 to 20 years. So they just didn't have limits at that time. So I did a good job, I guess. So they just said, well, got somebody in here that wants to do it, let them do it. And then after that, then I joined the Verein besides. So I was with the Verein too, I think, not quite sure when I joined. I know I joined in 1998 because that's when my mug says, and then I don't know what year I went put on the board. I was put on the board in maybe '01, '02, something like that. Bev Earl's mother, I forgot what her first name was, Vicky.
Yeah.
She was president of Turner Ladies when I joined.
Okay.
And then Lucy, I think Lucy was in the past, and then Lucy came back again. Lucy was president for quite a few years.
Yeah.
But her and I worked a lot together with sauerkraut supper. In those days, it was always the board that got it organized and did all the ordering and making sure it all went down.
Why did you join the Turner Ladies?
Because I was invited to join the Turner Ladies.
Huh.
And I joined that in September of 1981.
Okay.
I was invited and I accepted their invitation.
Do you remember who invited you?
Yes, and I think it was Mrs. John Hyman.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mrs. John. Let's see, I can't remember her first name,
Okay.
but Mrs. John Hyman invited me.
Did you have to take lessons on how to help?
No, I don't think I did.
They just put you to work.
They put you to work, so you carried plates and helped setting the tables and just help all the way around.
Yeah.
And the meal was prepared downstairs, so when there was an affair upstairs, we carried all the meals in buckets, of course, and then it was served on plates from I don't know if it was the dining room. Was that little round?
The little founder's room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so everything was put on plates in there, and then we carried them, many plates, and those evenings were very, very well attended.
Yes.
Large weddings, and it was a party place. It was a party place to go to.
Yeah.
I always cut the wedding cake.
You did? Okay.
I had my own special white knife, and so I would cut the wedding cakes. And now it's cupcakes or cookies or
A
something.
lot of cupcakes these days.
How things have changed that way. So I'm interested, what was this special knife you had?
Well, it was the way it was shaped.
Okay.
I still got it. I still have the knife someplace. I don't know where.
You do.
You know, and it was it was real fine. Was a real fine knife,
Okay.
and it really go right down the cake. Really, it was the right knife. I don't know how I happened onto it.
Yeah.
Dad, with his being handy with fixing things and doing woodwork and all that, he helped get the main bar downstairs here from Winthrop.
Oh, is that where
Yes.
you're from? Okay. From
And
where? And
I don't know, because I must have been way too young at that point. That I don't even recall it, but I know he always talked about it. And I look at that all the time and I think, how did they get that here and keep it in such good shape? Because the one up here came from Shorty's. No, wait a minute, I'm sorry, that's wrong. It came from Augie's down on 2nd North, a half a block from the old swimming pool. And that one is up here. Then we have one downstairs next to the dining room. That one came from Shorty's. And my husband and I helped move that. Well, I was a photographer. And the boys did the heavy work in getting that one up here. So all of our bars around here have a lot of history.
we went to Landkammer's and bought furniture for it because the old furniture had it. But so we had Ethan Allen type furniture. It doesn't fit with the era, but it was upholstered rocking chairs and regular chairs, and it was quite serene. But it fell into disuse because women didn't need to be cordoned off as we became more liberated. So the Damen fell into disuse.
They put in the tap things now.
Oh, yes, it was the Damenzimmer, you know, in German, the ladies' room. It was, the ladies met there and the men were downstairs in the bar room, you know. And it was, you know, early on, that was where the Turner ladies had their meetings, you know, and they were not that big a group. They'd have, they had many meetings in the social hall also. They'd have their supper there and until everybody got tired of lugging things up and down the stairs.
That come quickly. Was the ladies' room just sort of, did it have couches and sofas or something?
It had very nice old furniture.
Okay.
And it had some interesting old things like Damen Verein hung up there for years, you know.
Yes. Oh, so is that where that was?
That's where it was. And there were other interesting old things, you know. And after the fire, they were kind of, there was kind of a feeling, well, let's get rid of this old stuff, you know, that it wasn't quite, you know, the way it should have been, instead of trying to preserve. But, and then of course, you know, the need for storage became kind of desperate, though it actually should not have been done in that way, you know, and we didn't have any clout to keep it from happening.
I would love to see that.
But it had, you know, a nice old wood table like this, and furniture that people had donated, and interesting old furniture, and they took pride in keeping it, you know.
The old freezer and refrigerator were walk in behind the bar, the main bar. Oh my gosh, that was something when you had to get something out of there. You had to climb over half barrels. Okay. And of course what you'd need in the freezer was way in the back. And the ice was so built up because the black roof, tarred roof, was over the freezer. Well, that got heated up from the sun. So it was always dripping in there. Oh, it was a fiasco. And of course you had to take half of the stuff out to get what you needed. And the floor was piled full of food because the shelves weren't enough. Oh, and then one day a bunch of us decided, now we're going to defrost that thing. Richard said, no, you can't do that. So one Sunday we came in early and we had everything out of there, piled together to keep it cold. And he just went nuts. But we got it all cleaned up and we had room left over. Oh, that was a fun thing. You know, when you can do something and see the results are better than they were before, it's such a good feeling. And it helped everybody out.
Liz Dietrich did a lot of the duties up here. She did more, I mean, she went above and beyond. And her health really has subsided in the last year. So she had to totally quit everything.
That's hard.
And so I've taken over part of her duties, not all of them. I'm trying to follow in her footsteps. Yes. Well, I know she did all the, not so much all the linens, but all of the towels from the bar and the kitchen and daily. And I said, I cannot do that. I knew I couldn't keep up with that. So I do all the calling and all of trying to get someone here for every function and do all the setting up for them. And so that's a big job in itself. But in fact, Turner Hall, I believe, is going to be doing the linens now, or the towels.
Yes.
Once they get the new kitchen, they're going to bring in buy a washer dryer, and then they'll do them daily here. But in the meantime, Dana, I don't know if you've met Dana, he's a janitor here, or maintenance man. And he was doing them for maybe a week or two. And he came to me and he says, "You don't realize." I says, "Yes, I realize what she all did. I know what she did." But he didn't know what it all meant to. So he said, "We've got to do something for her." So we went out and got her she got a gift certificate and some flowers and some stuff like that. And then we went over and he went with me to give it to her.
That's nice.
Anyway, that part will be taken care of
Yeah.
too. But that's a big job.
Yes.
You can't imagine how many towels they go through in a day.
Right. Right.
You know, and they throw them on the floor and you wipe something up and then it's really black and then try to get them to come out looking clean again.
And from your time, somebody was just, you wish you could come up and say, "Boy, thank you for all that you meant to me and all that you meant to the Turner ladies."
I think it would be Bergie and Lois, because they both worked, and they both worked hard. She worked in the kitchen with us and never let up. She did just as much as we did. Never, ever expected us to do something that she wouldn't do. And I think that's a huge thing. You can't ask people to do work if you're afraid to get your fingers dirty. It's just not a good way to be.
You must have really enjoyed the chance to.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, we had a birthday. We made homemade ice cream, and you know, on the weekend, and it was like going to a party almost every weekend. Although it was work, you know.
Well, if you like people going and getting together, I enjoy the people talking, having. It's kind of fun. And I never mind working. I mean, you're volunteer. I like to do that too. Still am doing that. And you meet a lot of people and can have fun. We played cards after. Some of us do. So
You can be as involved as you want to be. You can work as often as you want. If you have a hard time saying no, you know, you might have to learn to say no. Because I've had to learn to say no sometimes. Because I'm a yes person. But for me, I've made new friends. And you get, you know, if you're a people person, you know, then do the events where you get to kind of be around with the people. Yeah. If you're more quiet and shy and you like to do the behind the scenes things, there's opportunities for, you know, not being in the thick of it. So
I don't know. I guess I just do it because of knowing that I want to keep this place afloat and keep. I have great respect for it. The historical point of it, plus just the atmosphere. People come in and they've never been here, and they just say, "This is just amazing." They just can't believe the artifacts that are here. The Rathskeller with its paint, the murals, and it's a draw. And we are getting more and more people. I think members are picking up. I don't know the numbers. Since I don't get to the board meetings. I don't know that.
Well.
But I know they are doing well just from coming in on Saturday mornings and saying, "Oh my God, the place was packed again last night."
Yeah.